says tracing King Solomon's gold to land of ancient Incas. A controversial explorer claims that the pre-Europeans sailed to the Americas. Pre-Europeans, so we will be talking about your Urs, your Chaldees, your Nipsey Hussle looking brothers. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back to that again. This is written by Robin Ingalls, special to the Christian Science Monitor, Kona, Hawaii, and Hiram sent his navy and his servants and shipmen that had knowledge of the sea within the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to the king Solomon. Some call him a maverick, others a visionary, others the last of a romantic adventure. Sinewy says Cindy. Never.
Sinewy.
Muscular. Okay. Blue eyes blazing under bushy eyebrows, American explorer and several. Yeah, right. They know that ain't how Solomon looked. Former journalist and self-taught anthropologist, his accomplishments uncovering major ruins of the dense wilderness of the Peruvian rainforest are many, among them Vallecamba.
Did they come by and confirm that? Yeah. We're pointing out. Now, if they would just set a 480 and go home on the 10-hour night. That's what first shift does. I don't understand why we can't do that. Your regular quota is 420. Yeah, we're 420. Not when we work 10 hours.
Okay, it's this former journalist and self-taught anthropologist. His accomplishments uncovering major ruins in defense of wilderness of the Peruvian rainforest are many, among the Vallecamba, the last refuge of the Incans, the great Pachetin, regarded as one of the most important pre-Columbian ruins, and Grand Vilaya, a complex of more than 20,000 stone buildings buried deep in the jungle. 3 decades later, he is exploring a new wilderness, the vast blue Pacific Ocean. He and his crew of 6 men arrived in Kona, Hawaii in late January, having sailing 6,000 miles in 6 weeks from Callao, Peru, in the Feathered Serpent III, a replica of an ancient vessel. We have found the route that we believe that the Incas must have used to arrive on Hawaii Islands. Mr. Savoy announced at the press conference held at Kanoa Surf Hotel last month. It's a natural, he said. It's a river of the seas because Hawaii serves as a gateway to the Pacific. Savoy says that the ocean crossing provides significant evidence supporting the possibilities that ancient ships travel widely across the globe, exchanging ideas and trading goods. It is the first leg of a 7-year expedition destined for the shores of China. Like the earlier discoveries in the jungle, this most recent adventure elicits a deep sigh from the scientific community looking for more than proven possibility. I'm accustomed to controversy, Savoy says, but I think we have enough scientific proof to verify our findings. Savoy's explorations are serious. The expedition is endorsed by the Peruvian National Institute of Culture and by the prestigious Explorers Club in New York. The trip to Hawaii in the Feathered Serpent III maiden voyage, while hundreds of naval officers and cadets in crisp white uniforms stood at attention and bands played the Peruvian national anthem. Peruvian President Alberto Fujimori christened the 68-foot ship on December 17th. Last year, the vessel built for marine cultures. designed for etching found on Incan pottery. The vessel draws on another ancient culture as well from the Polynesians, a double-hulled catamaran from Egypt and a heavy sailcloth from China. The rigging, exotic dragon head posed at the bow and the stern for another 6 feet to the ship's dimension. 2 years of making at a cost of $500,000, the ship quickly proved herself seaworthy for Callao and a port in Lima. A warm current swept the dragon boat northward. Dolphins frolicked beside the ship, squeaking and greeting. Diving between the hulls, the men squeaked their sneakers on the hull in reply. The ancient used the dolphins to navigate, says Navigator Gary Buckman. I felt reassured we were on the correct route. Birds also escorted the expedition the entire way. When they landed on the boat, the men fed them whales. The size of the ship surfaced often at night. The sea water washed across the deck, sparkling like millions of miniature lights. In the morning, flying fish flopped on the netting stretched between the hulls, cleaned and dipped in cornmeal and fried in olive oil over the propane stove. They provided the crew with their only fresh food. Crackers, tins of tuna, rice, and potatoes were staples. First, it has become clear to me people can survive for remarkably long periods of time at sea on a remarkably flimsy craft, so I wouldn't be surprised to learn that there was a lot more travel through the Pacific in so-called pre-contact periods than what had been assumed by most scholars. He says by email, Savoy asked scholars to stretch their imagination even further. Picture fleets of Phoenician ships almost 3,000 years ago sailing across several oceans to load up with gold gathered in the Americas and then returning their treasure to Jerusalem to build King Solomon's temple, a 3-year round trip for evidence. Savoy points to a carved figure of glyphs found on a wall of a tomb in the Andes. It matches one found in the Middle East, he says. In his views, it's more than a coincidence that the marking means Ophir, the land of rich in gold referred to in the Bible. Its precise location, accessible by sea, has eluded Bible scholars for generations. Savoy's list of examples of cultural similarities gathered during his years in the jungle of the Amazon that link the region with the Pacific Rim beyond. He is documenting them in a book he is writing and lecturing in Honolulu as he prepares for the next leg of the expedition, a voyage to Japan to the beginning in November or the next March. One of his collaborations in Japan is the Taro Mazoi of Tokyo University. Savoy conviction that the pre-European civilization could have communicated across oceans with primitive vessels at their disposal is not new. The renowned explorer and ethnologist, Norwegian-born Thor Heyerdahl, we got him from our book, Races of Men, I think, 1947, with the similar voyages from Peru to Polynesia of a salt wood raft, Carthige. Oh yeah, no, Thor Heyerdahl, we wrote about him in that BC America. The voyage seeks to prove that the Incans deliberately navigated to their destination and returned following a diagonal angle of 310 degrees on the compass. The Feathered Serpent 3 navigators used the southeast trade winds to move across the equator and northeast winds to arrive in Hilo. They recorded the angles of the stars. I believe with my heart we've made a journey that can be replicated using the stars for navigation, says Savoy. Evidence is great that the Inca conqueror Tupac Yupanqui made the journey with an entire fleet of ships around AD 1460. Said, we've inherited everything from our ancient ancestors, said Savoy. This is an extension of the finding in the jungle